Hey everyone, Aaron here, and welcome to episode 5 review of Mayoiga, or The Lost Village. This episode was very, very odd. Essentially started with mostly talking from our group. We had our group from last week's episode actually rejoin the main group, and unfortunately because they couldn't escape, they all now are back in the same group. Now, most of this episode was focused on talking, and right away we have actually people all of a sudden start getting angry and worked up, and we have the guy who has the glass, I forgot his name off the top of my head. He actually right away accuses several people that he doesn't trust, and he thinks Koharun, who's the girl on the right side of the screen, is actually one of the main components of this kind of setup of what they're dealing with and all this stuff, and she doesn't trust her at all, and he actually ends up going out on his own at one point, but not before some weird events also, where we have Lion actually saying that Mitsumune actually disappeared for a second and claims that, she could see dead people. And that causes a whole another giant set of riots where we have, various people like the crazy psycho girl that wants to torture everyone come in and play and say, we shouldn't trust them, let's kill them and all that. It was essentially a good, I want to say 15 minutes focused almost solely on them talking about, what they were going to do now and how they're splitting up because, they don't trust, well, especially the glasses guy does not trust any of these people anymore. He's having issues with that. Now, Mitsumune, at the middle point of this episode, actually does start having to get a job where he actually more so is now in charge of guarding the premises. And really, besides that, he just guards it for a little while until Lion Kun comes again and explains that she could see dead people, but more so not really per se the way that he was thinking she could see dead people. More so that she could see dead people in the sense that she can see them as they're about to die. Now, while they're talking, and by the way, sorry for the stupid picture, that screenshot is terrible and I'm looking at it, but it serves the purpose of them actually talking to one another. As they're talking, you have the two crazy guard duty guys, and the one girl that says meow at the end is after every sentence, and you have the other guy who's the big gun nut that seems like they're right away talking about taking Mitsumune down and like trying to interrogate him, figure out what he's all about, and they succeed. Mitsumune gets tied up toward the end of the episode and is only rescued when the one girl who threw up all the time actually comes and says that she started a fire and actually got him away because she wanted to talk to him for a little bit. Now, the biggest weird moment of this whole episode, and probably the only time I was actually like, what the hell, comes from the very last 15 seconds of the anime, which is about to come up right now. That thing shows up. I don't know what the hell that giant, is it like a stuffed animal creature, whatever the hell it is, shows up out of the forest, and you could just see the bewilderment on their faces of looking at this thing going, what the hell is that? I don't even know what the hell that thing is. It's like half creature and half stuffed animal. It's half human. It looks like. You can see actually looks like an eye to the far right, and the far left looks like a stuffed animal eye. That is really, really bizarre. But other than that, this episode was a lot of talking, but it was a good sense of talking because you could already see the split that is occurring in our main group of characters. They're starting not to trust one another. They're already starting to have issues with their kind of situation they're thrown in. They don't know what to do. There's weird things showing up. There's weird people claiming they can see ghosts and dead people walking around this village. A lot of questions are in play, but again, we have no conclusive questions answered. Now all we have is more mysteries. And in many ways, if you guys were big fans of Another, if you watched Another at all at any point, you know that the director's style is to make it where he really makes you kind of linger on to mysteries more than anything else until the later ends of the episodes or shows that he does, because he doesn't really want you to know everything right off the bat. He wants you to kind of dwell on it and think about it and kind of start making up theories in your head. So I'm guessing by the last several episodes we'll figure out what's going on, but until then we're still very much in the dark. But overall, I think this was a very good episode. I think that it did everything right. It had characters that you needed to see start breaking down a little bit more. You needed characters that started showing that they're tired of the situation they're in, and that kind of creepy thing that appeared at the end is enough of a crazy dilemma thing that I don't know what the hell it is. I really don't, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing that everyone's gonna be talking about in this episode is what is that thing. They do say what it is at the end of the episode, sort of, it sounds like, but you really don't get a clear sense of what he actually means by that. Anyways, though, that's it for today's review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, helps me out a lot, and talk to you guys later in the next review. Bye bye, everyone.